session is Discover Candidate Market Fit, which is a new lens for your job search journey. And you're going to be introduced to this new concept today. I'm going to walk you through my story and how I used it to help me stand out in a really crowded job market. So if everybody's ready, we'll go ahead and get started. So again, big welcome. So our agenda for today is we're going to talk a little bit about my story and why this was so important. So we're going to do a case study on me. We're going to talk about the candidate market fit, what it is, how you can apply it. Thank you. And then I'm going to give you some resources. We'll have a little activity at the end, thus the notes, and then some Q&A. So if everybody's ready to get started, go ahead and do that. So a little bit about me. I've been doing work for a while and didn't realize how much of it was product. And so through this process, I was able to come up with clarity that this slide provides. This is in my new portfolio that I had just finished up. I started off in healthcare, so I am a dietitian and a health educator by training, so I have a bunch of letters behind my name. And I went through a postgraduate fellowship at the CDC in Atlanta, did a lot of product work there. Again, didn't get the title, didn't get the pay certainly, but I've been doing it for a while. And then I went on to Quest Diagnostics. Has anyone here ever used Quest? Yeah, for lab work. Yeah, did 5 products for them as a health educator. Again, not a title, but still did the work. 2019 changed everything for me. I went from healthcare and wellness over to UX. So I entered the world of tech. Did my certificate at SMU, and then I moved on to companies like AVP List, a great mentorship organization working on that during COVID, CVS Health, again during COVID, and I've been speaking for 2 years. So this clarity came from the process. So I kind of wanted to start with the beginning, and then we'll go backwards as we talk through this. So the question that got me to what is my candidate market fit was a conversation I had with a recruiter. So right before COVID, I was working as a senior accessibility designer, which is essentially a UX designer that focuses on accessibility for COVID-19 vaccines for CVS Health. And I was ready to go back into the market and quickly realized that I'm on the build side, and there was a lot of fix going on. So even though accessibility is needed, 96% of home pages are not accessible, the market didn't recognize the need for readiness. It's very on the fit side, not the build side. So a recruiter talked to me, and she asked me this very pointed question. She said, what is the market buying? She's like, you're great on paper, love it, but what's the market buying? So that is the question that got me to here. And I had to realize that just because I have skills doesn't mean that there's a market demand out there for it. And I think that's a lot of the problem with this current job market. We have a lot of people that are going into the job market that are very qualified, but we're not differentiating ourselves. So my dilemma was the crossroads, right? I have so many different options because I have a lot of different backgrounds. So I'm going to call this the paradox of choice is what I was facing. That's my dilemma, that's my problem I needed to solve. So I had so many different options. Again, I could go back into healthcare, be another dietitian, hospital, work in healthcare, whatever. I could do product, I could do UX, I'm an IC, I've worked all the different IC roles. Go back into wellness programs, go work at benefits and companies that do speaking, content creation, be an influencer, a lot of different choices. But I found something to help me because I needed to go and find, like, how can I solve this problem? So I got introduced to this book called Never Search Alone. So some of you may have heard of this. It's actually based on product principles, which I thought was really important for me, where you don't search alone, and they give you a playbook with free resources once you join the program. I also heard about it on Lenny's podcast. Y'all have probably heard of Lenny's podcast. It's a really good one. There's a whole session all on Never Search Alone on it. And the Never Search Alone starts off with the job search councils. So you join in with a group of people, you have a moderator, and you have this sense of support. It's all based on operationalizing help. And once you're in a job search council, then you get access to the free resources. So what you do in this job search is you're trying to help find this candidate market fit. There's two parts to it. There's the first part called a Manookin Two-Pager, which we're going to talk about, and then we do a listening tour. It helps to validate who we are in the market and differentiate ourselves. So I'm going to introduce you to this concept. In product world, we have product market fit as the gold standard. We would do that before we would ever launch a product. And what this book does is it answers the question, can this lens help us as candidates? And so when I found this new framework, it was really interesting because it's the intersection of what makes you unique and what the market will pay for. So it's answering that question that that recruiter asked me, which helped kind of pull me in this direction. So the key benefit here is the clear market differentiation. If you went to the earlier session on job searching next door, they were talking a little bit about this. So this is where you start to really get clear on who you are in the market. It helps you to stay efficient, have an efficient job search, not go down a rabbit hole of something that you can't do. It also helps give you more traction in networking. And so this is a quote from Bill Terry, the person who actually wrote the book. And he's saying the more constrained or the more specific your candidate market fit, the more roles you'll get. A lot of people think that, oh, if I go specific, it's going to limit me. And I don't think that's the case. It's been very helpful for me. Okay, and so the candidate market fit starts with what they call a Manookin Two-Pager. And this is where you do 4 different things. You talk about what you love, what you hate doing, your must-haves and must-nots, your strengths and your weaknesses, and your career goals. So it does slow you down so you can speed up later. And that's the key. A lot of times when we get laid off, what's the first thing we do? We're gonna update our resume, we're gonna update our LinkedIn, and we're gonna go full speed ahead. And this slows you down, takes a minute, takes that pause, and says, what is it that's different about me? How can I differentiate myself in the market? And then it also sets the context for part 2, which is the listening tour. So when I conducted my listening tour, it's essentially like voice of customer and validation research. You're going back to prior managers, you're going back to coworkers, you're going back to people you worked on volunteer projects with, people that have been in your life, maybe your mentors, and you do what they call reverse exit interviews. And you ask the golden question, if you were in my shoes, what would you do? Where do I fit in the market? And then you get recruiter feedback. So it's like this 360 essentially that you're getting. So you can see some of my outputs when I did my listening tour. So I heard a lot from people that I needed to be pretty senior as a product manager. And so I really paid attention to that. I was also told to lean into my domain expertise. I have this really deep healthcare expertise, so put that together and it's a good fit for you. I was also told what not to do. So down at the bottom here, don't go for junior roles, don't go for APM roles, and then I'm not a technical product manager, so that's probably not the right fit for me. And then don't do research, just lean into product for strategy. That's really where I want to spend my time. And then I took all this input and I put it together in a mind map. So I took a tool from UX and I actually put all that information in. So it helped me to see fit and misfit spaces. It was a way to map also the relevant experience and accomplishments to those different things. So you can see the things here: product management, domain lead, innovation, data informed, and physical and digital experiences. Like how many times do we see a digital team working on digital? A physical team working on physical, and the two don't come together. Well, my fit is where they come together. So I've done both. Vaccination signups, vaccination clinics, coming from wellness. So you can kind of see how this all works together. And then I crafted my candidate market fit statement. So according to the book, there are 5 key elements that need to be in it and to do the work. So the role level, really important to get to that. We did that through the listening tour. The company domain or focus, the type of company, the stage or size. So like if you're in a startup, it's really important to state that. And then a cultural attribute like mission driven or something like that. And then you have some questions for your prompts to use and you work on that with your job search counsel. So they're helping you to kind of finesse this and get it to where it's ready. So here is part of mine. So I've done some annotations. So looking for a senior product manager. So that's the title and level. At a mission driven, and I really want to work directly with people. So B2C, B2C. And it can also be a Series B or Series C startup. And we want to build or expand. So I'm on that grow, the build, expand side, not the fix it like I was with finding in the accessibility world. Where we're working on these health, wellness, nutrition, mental health types of products, ideally connecting digital and physical experiences to solve health challenges, the actual health challenges that people face. Because sometimes it's the difference between those two experiences that make a person never want to go get a mammogram again, never want to go sign up for screening again, have a bad experience. Sometimes they can't find parking. Parking can be a big part of just finding your way to a medical center. Like, we don't think about those barriers. I think about them all the time because of the healthcare professional background. So that's that. And then my candidate market fit fueled my positioning strategy. So the first thing I did after I got to candidate market fit was I worked on a networking one-pager. And I pulled this from a tool. There's a person on LinkedIn all the time. Her name is Emily. And she has a lot of people that use this template. So I got 6,000 plus eyeballs on this. Lots of people saw this. And people in my network saw it. Ariel, in the back of the room. Hi, Ariel. Ariel actually forwarded this to his network. So this is how you start to really pull all this together. And then I also created a story list with posts that I'm going to do on LinkedIn. Again, they talked about it in an earlier job search session. So I've got a lot of views from these articles too. But it shows, not tells people that, that I'm qualified. It also helped to shape my portfolio. So I took my portfolio as a product and I did a PRD, or a product requirements document, and also formed some case studies that showcase my product management spend on these different projects that I worked on. So that is what candidate market fit is, and I wanted to share some resources with you where you can learn more. So Never Search Alone recently rebranded their website. It's neversearchalone.org, I believe. It might be neversearchalone.com. I need to find out. Okay, it's .org, yeah. And then Winnie's podcast, the newsletter, you can also find the session on Phil Cherry's Never Search Alone book and the candidate market fit there. So I've included the links there if you want to stop and take a slide picture if anybody wants to see it. Okay. And then once you're in the GASC, you join one of these groups, which doesn't cost anything, by the way. You get access to 2 really important resources. They have a Slack group. So the Slack group, and you'll see here, your particular job search is locked. So only the people in your search group will be able to have access to it. You'll see that there's almost 18,000 people that are members of it and people that are constantly part of the alumni network. So you can reach out and say, hey, does anybody have a contact at this company? You can run by your Manookin Two-Pager if you want to get more eyeballs on it. Also the candidate market fit if you want to get that validation from more people. And then the workbook, it's over 50 pages. There's templates, there's examples, there's a lot of really good resources there. Okay, so I'm going to stop for a minute and I'm going to give you a moment to, on your sticky notes, if there is something that you heard that kind of surprised or delighted you, something that's new and different that makes you want to go and do more. Also, if you had a take action moment, something that you want to learn more about, you want to listen to or share with other people, you can put that on the sticky notes as well. And then something about interest, if you're interested in maybe forming or joining a job search council, you can put that down as well. The key thing for the job search councils is they're backed up. It's a volunteer-ran organization. So if you bring people, let's say some people in the room here today, raise their hand and say, we all want to be in the job search council together, you'll be more quickly approved and get access quicker. So I just wanted to take a moment and think about that. Does anybody have a surprise or delight from the session that they want to share with everyone here?
Yeah, I would say the networking one page surprised me. I really loved it. It was like a resume, but it was amazing. I need to start doing it. It's really impressive, and probably I'm going to look more into it. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Anybody else?
That one really stood out. That's one thing we didn't know. At least I didn't know that. So I would also vote for the network one page.
Okay. Very good. So the one pager sounds like that's a big takeaway. Anything else before we move on? Okay, anybody gonna take action and look into this, maybe join a job search counselor interested in one? Anybody wanna raise your hand so you can all find each other? Or you can just talk outside of the room. So there's a couple of people here. Anybody else? Okay.
I'm sorry, can you talk a little bit more about the networking page? So what
Yeah, the
how
networking
did you get
page.
to that point to create that page?
Yeah, so once I found the candidate market fit, that I finessed right, and I went back and I looked at this when I did my mind map, how I mapped everything together. I was able to pull all that information into something that someone like Ariel or another contact could quickly share with their network and advocate for me. So I put in there also some call to action, like if you know someone at a company, and I have a list of the companies that I had identified as my fits. So like your ideal list or something. So it just made it super simple for people to share and help me, which is what we want people to do, right? We want them to take action, we want to get discovered, we want to have that traction. So that's how I did it. Anything else about that, or did that answer?
It did, thank you.
Okay.
What tool did you use to make this? You mentioned that you use a UX tool, which.
Yeah, I used a mind map.
Oh, okay.
So you can like just Google it. What it does for me is it helps me with meaning, and then I was able to take that theme and then pull my relevant experience right to it. So it was really helpful. I do my slides in Canva. So Canva is like a good tool for me to use, but some people in UX, they love Figma and Miro. You can probably find one there too.
I like Canvas.
Okay. Okay, any other questions from that? Okay, anybody else have any general questions? I'm trying to be respectful of everybody's time. We can go back and talk about any of these in more detail if you want. Okay, so best way to get in touch with me, I have my LinkedIn QR code here, and I will make available some of the resources from the slide. I'll probably post it from today. If anybody took pictures, and hopefully I was smiling, can you send one to me? It's like I've done like 2 years of presentations and I don't have a good picture yet because it seems like there's always shadow or something. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and my key thing here that I'm going to ask is once we're connected, you can send me a voice memo. Unfortunately, not all tools are equally accessible, and of all the things on LinkedIn, the bread and butter, the connection piece does not work with assistive technologies. So the alternative or accommodation there is voice memos, and as long as you're doing it on your phone, you can send one, you can listen to them wherever, but the other thing you could do is you could just send me an email, sonyaatx@gmail.com. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, thank you all for coming. And if you don't mind, if somebody wrote down their takeaways and if you didn't share them, if you could just send them back to me, I would love that. Thank you.